We don't need no education. We don't need no thought control. No dark sarcasms in the classroom. Teacher, leave those kids alone. Hey, what's good, people, man? Platinum be the dread. Toast on the bench, them. Question, man. Have we become educated fools? Have we become educated fools? Now, I'm not being smart, yeah. Sorry for lying. But, as a result of this lockdown, when I observed that many people lost a lot of money, lost work, because the whole system kind of fell apart a little bit. It got me reflecting on the whole, hey little doggy, all right, on the whole educational system, um, and what its purpose is supposed to be. My friend is still there. Now, I'm not being smart again, but surely the whole point of education is to teach a person a certain area of knowledge, so ultimately they can derive work from it and be independent. How naive I was back then, that is. And you realize that the actual reverse is true, the opposite is true. First and foremost, let's look at the word education. Education has its roots in Latin, which comes from the word educare or educere. And there's basically two meanings. One of them is to bring up, like you raise a plant, to, too many flies, matcha, to, to mold, like you would mold clay, if you like. Now, let's look at that first meaning alone. It makes sense when you realize that the first teacher of human beings is their mother. The very first teacher is the mother. Because all the knowledge we get to start with is from our mother or whoever raises us. And because our mother or whoever raises us knows us best, they know us best how to bring us up, and what to give us and at what point at a time. And there you'll find the true meaning of the word, educare, to bring up. Let's look at the second word, which means to bring forth that which is within already. And it takes a very wise person to be able to bring forth that which is within you. And we're not talking about a headmaster or a teacher in a primary school. It takes a very wise person, and once again, it makes sense why the first teachers of humans are our family, mother, father, extended family. Now, if we look at the school system, which, by the way, as far as Europe is concerned, has a lot of its structure based on the Greeks, even though ultimately, a lot of it we can trace all the way back to ancient Egypt. But in terms of this hierarchy and elitism, you can look at a lot of the Greek structure and you can see where we're at today. Now, if you look at the education system today, they're actually doing the opposite of what that meaning I just mentioned is. Yeah, they do mold us, but they mold us to them. They mold us into a clone version of a non-thinker and a person who doesn't think outside of the box and a person who's dependent on them. And they use that same blueprint for everyone that goes through the school system. And secondly, the second meaning, to bring forth that which is from within. None of those teachers that you're going to find in the average school are wise enough, to tap into that uniqueness in an individual and bring it out. One, because they haven't even found that within themselves, and two, because that's not part of the agenda. You can have the best, well-meaning teacher, but they've got to follow a certain agenda, a certain curriculum, if they want to be a teacher. And to be honest with you, on a side note, that was an area I was looking to get into, but I didn't like the idea that, you had to teach from a certain rigid curriculum and in a certain style. So I said, no, that's not for me, man. But you see where I'm going with this? Those two areas where the true meaning of education comes into play, this whole educational system is actually doing the opposite. And that's actually by design. There's nothing accidental about that. I mean, reflecting on our parents now, when we look at how far, and I'm talking for the most part now, they went in terms of income, it's almost like they hit a ceiling and they didn't get any further than that. And we almost like repeat the same cycle. And we never question that. We just assume that that's the way it's supposed to be. But when you look at higher quote unquote class families, they have a completely different kind of education. You know, it's from day one, they're taught to be independent. I mean, you think about it, right? You're not even taught in school how to plant and grow food. You're not even taught in school how to, the science of business. Or even on a very basic level, team building and self-esteem, all these life skills that are crucial, essential for when we finally enter the big world. The big world. Again, that's not by accident. All we're taught are dates and and names and history, and for the most part, most of these names that we're given are either racists, pedophiles, anti-women. I mean, take your pick. There's loads of them, man. Anti-Semitic, whatever you want to throw in there. You got Hitler, you got Christopher Columbus, you got Thomas Cook's, you got Winston Churchill. All these people, look at the history, but yet they're teaching us about all these unsavory characters, for want of a better word. And we're there in school wasting our years away just remembering all these names. And then if that's not enough, they're just throwing all these numbers at us, which for the most part can't serve us. I'm not talking about adding, take away, subtracting, the basics. But then, I mean, you ask a man like Richard Branson what he knows about trigonometry or algebra, I'm sure he'll look at you dumbfounded. But yet look what he's doing with his life, and look at the kind of income he's earning. Now, I'm not saying that education is useless, no, far from it. Although I do think that independent schools and homeschooling is going to be the way of the future. Trust me on that, man. But what I am saying, that surely it makes a lot more sense to find something that you're passionate about, something that you love, and put the bulk of your energy and your time and your money into that one thing, and at the same time learn business and couple them together, so you know how to market that particular passion that you have and earn a living from it, and ultimately be self-sufficient, not dependent on the system. That's the kind of knowledge that I would give my children. Take what you need from school and give them what they want, and then when those years are over, get the hell out. You don't want to be one of those students that are piled up with all these student debts on a knowledge that was just pure information, pure distraction, and now you've left school, you've left college, and uni with all these bills, and yet you're none the wiser in terms of being independent. You're just more in debt. No sir, no thank you, man. Anyway, man, let me know your thoughts. Do you think we've become educated fools? Do you think this is all by design? And if so, are you prepared to step outside the box and start doing things differently, and start not just questioning everything, but learning from the point of view of understanding, not just regurgitating words and memorizing, because you're not going to really learn anything, come out by just memorizing if you don't understand it. I realized that when I started really learning and enjoying quote-unquote education was when I left school, left college, even left uni, because now I was learning because I really wanted to learn, and it wasn't just memorizing facts, it was understanding those facts, and that built up my confidence to know, not rather than just be able to remember, but to really, really know. Anyway, man, that's me, man. Platinum Be the Dread, Toast upon the bench them. Oh yeah, don't forget, hit the like button, subscribe or something. That way we can do this again, and maybe I can give you some words of inspiration. Shit, man.